Good morning, good afternoon, and or good evening. You are watching Nub's Collection, a YouTube series dedicated to the cataloging and review of every game in my physical media collection. As always, I am your host, Victor Nub, and today we are looking at Isolated Warrior, developed by KID, which is an acronym for Kindle, Imagine, Develop, and published in the United States by NTVIC, which I have no idea what that means, and released in the United States in February of 1991. So this is a rare game for KID, who probably isn't a name you're familiar with in the United States, at least. That company primarily released games in Japan, specifically visual novels, and they were released mostly on the PlayStation, and the company actually went bankrupt in 2006. So if you've never heard of them, you probably never will again, because this is a very rare instance of a video game that wasn't written just to be read and kind of role played in this case of most visual novels, I guess. So let's go ahead and do the story setup for this one. It's actually a very short story because there's not a whole lot to the story in this game, as you'll see as we play through it today. But there is no title for the story section. It's simply called Isolated Warrior.
A planet outside of Earth's galaxy called Pan was suddenly attacked by an unknown alien force. The aliens had the power to consume all living things, machines, and buildings. Pan soon became overwhelmed by the aliens, and their army began losing all of its fighting power. The soldiers and people of Pan were advised to evacuate the planet. However, the captain of the army, MAX MAVERICK, refused to leave. He suited up for battle and faced the aliens alone, using his motorcycle and hovercraft as his only means of transportation.
That's it. That's the whole story. Not exactly the most meaty of plot setups for a video game, but this isn't exactly the most deep experience in all of video games. So this game has two primary inspirations for the way that it plays. You may have seen in the demo video that was playing there. Number one, it plays a little bit like Contra in that you are on foot for a good chunk of it. And they said obviously there's some other vehicles you use, but you have the ability to jump and move in multiple directions. The other inspiration is kind of like a Life Force / Gradius style of auto-scroller, where most of the levels that I've been able to play through owning the game as a kid, you went down to up, or south to north, I guess you would say. But it also is kind of tilted at an angle, so it's more of an isometric play style for it. Anyway, this game has a Konami code of sorts where you could just enter 6502 and you start with max life and I think 10 bombs, which you activate by jumping and then pressing the jump button again. But let's go ahead and get started. By the way, I don't think it's any accident. I always thought this character kind of looked a little bit like Sylvester Stallone if you squint your eyes, maybe. I don't know why I went high there. Now, right off the bat, one of the things that I have never liked about this game, and is probably going to be a common complaint for the entirety of this playthrough today, or as close as I can get to a playthrough, it's going to be the fact that the bullet sound is very grating. In fact, a lot of the sounds in this game are very grating. They probably should have sat down with someone and had them actually listen to the audio and go, yeah, this is kind of annoying. Also, I'll explain as we start playing what the power-ups all stand for. Some of them are pretty obvious, some of them aren't all that obvious. The W and the L items are your weapon power-ups, and what they do is, depending on which of the two guns you're using, they affect whether or not your weapon shoots wide, or I guess long or focused. Right now we're working only on building up my wide attack, which spreads the bullets out across the screen a little more, which is a good choice early on. Obviously, when you get to bosses later on, it might be a better idea to use the more focused attack, but we should be all right against the first boss. And all you have to do to change weapons is press the select button on the controller. In addition to your normal gun, you also have like a bomb attack that you can launch. As I said before, you just jump and then press jump again, and it launches those bombs. It's a good way to take on bosses if you're worried about dying before you take down their health. The nice thing about this game, which of course would have been a real boon if you had trouble playing Gradius, but maybe there's a reason why they never put that in, you actually have health. There's a life bar at the bottom of the screen. Every time I get hit, I usually just lose 1 tick of health. And entering that password made it so that I start with the max amount, which is a nice little bonus. There we go. Alright, so I think, yep, I'm at max. So we'll switch over to the other one. There we go. So the other one obviously shoots a little bit faster, but you don't have as much control over what direction your bullets are going. That item obviously gives me a shield. There are little purple orb items that I've picked up periodically here, and it may not have been obvious right away, but those actually give you health. That one right there! I died. So yeah, collision with the environment will kill you. As dumb as that is. Now, the good news is because I didn't have the wide weapon selected when I died, it actually did not cost me any charge. The weapon you have equipped when you die does lose charge, so it's very important to swap to one you don't use as often before you die, or else you will lose the all the charge, I think. It may just be one level. I'm not 100% certain on that. So I gotta be careful for that wall there, I guess. This is probably one of those games that I played a couple of times as a kid. Got frustrated that I couldn't get past the first 2 levels and gave up. I have never beaten this game, full disclosure. This is another one of those ones that I owned and just never could get anywhere in. It's funny, I had no problem beating Life Force when I was a kid, even though that game gives you, a pretty hefty cheat. I died again. I may not get out of the first level. Yeah, I had no problem beating Life Force as a kid, and was a good chunk of the reason, it was the inspiration really for starting the Rental Regrets series, was there were games that I didn't actually own, but I had a distinct memory of playing and enjoying, and I had every intention of playing them at some point for the game series, the Nubs Collection series, but it just didn't feel right playing a game that I never actually owned, so I had to kind of preface why we were looking at it. It's not like I show my physical shelf on the show, but hey, maybe I do this time. There we go. So here's another boss. I'll give them credit. The bosses are pretty unique in the designs that they put in the game, even though I think this may be the second and only boss that I've ever seen playing this game, because I don't think there is a continue. There might be. I guess we'll find out when I get to the next area if I remember anything about it. I think we finished. Oh, hey, oh, yep, we did it. All right, there's the first boss. Yeah, the music in this game is just kind of a hot mess. Computer distribution of war forces. Captain Max Maverick. Confirmed. Captain Max Maverick is the only survivor of the Special Force. Well, technically, I'm the only person on the planet, according to the story, so it's not that I'm the only survivor, it's that no one else is here. 1227. We'll try to remember that if I die here. So here's my hovercraft, I guess. This is also a good example of one of the big problems with this game, is that the isometric angle of the camera kind of makes it hard to tell when I am near the edge of the screen or if a bullet is about to strike me. Alright, we almost have Max! Oh, I was so close. Oh, don't like those enemies popping up on them! So there you go. that was an entire run in the game. I think we get to actually start. Yeah, okay. Now let's see if I lost both weapons. I did. That stinks. So even though I had full health when I made contact with those silver, I don't know, giant mouths, I lost my life. That stinks. Ah! I may not get much further in this second level, unfortunately. The way they mix things up is they make it so that if you stay at the bottom of the screen, you're going to probably get hit by an enemy flying in from behind you. Ah, man. And they are hitting hard, too. They're hitting for like 2 points every time they make contact. Jeez. I may actually be better off just restarting the game at this point. Oh, hey, okay, also, I think I could jump in this hovercraft. And here they come again. Jerks. I'm worried about your... Oh! Good lord. So that's where you want to use the focus weapon, because you actually shoot behind you, and that would probably be helping me. The problem is they don't show you visually on screen which one you're using. You just have to actually build up some charge for it, and then you'll know. And I may not get to the point where I get to check because the game keeps shooting me! Okay, you know what? We are going to restart this. I want to actually go in there with a fresh set of weapons, or at least a full charge of weapons, and see if I can't get a little bit better luck going through that section without dying immediately. Is it cheating a little bit to do that? Yes, but I would like to be able to look at this game past the second level. Ooh. Alright, so we're going to do what we did last time. We're going to build up my wide beam first. Uh-oh. Hey! Ooh. Come on. Now you can build both simultaneously, but I feel like you're better off choosing one as your focus. Oh, I got it. And then switching once you get a full charge for that other item. I will say, graphically, the characters look cool, but man, they used an awful lot of purple in this game. Purple and pink. And I don't love it. And the characters do have unique designs. That is a very strong plus for this. Although I'm not sure how exactly the alien force won by picking up big round rocks and throwing them at enemies. I thought they were supposed to be trying to eat things. Alright. Bomb. So there is a difference in the way that the bombs work depending on when you launch them. If you do it immediately upon jumping or while you're falling back down, it'll just launch the bombs out straight ahead. If you do it at the peak of your jump, when you do the little somersault that I keep doing there, it'll actually shoot them in kind of a spinning clockwise fashion. Alright, so this gun is max. Let's switch over. Nice thing is you shoot a lot faster with this one. There we go. I mean, even the main character is pink, which, you know, is weird. I don't know. I'm guessing what they think is that in terms of like sci-fi environments, maybe pink and purple are good colors. I don't know if I agree with that. There's a whole spectrum of colors available. Come on, kill him, kill him, kill him, kill him, get out, get. Yeah, these are definitely very unique designs. Yeah, it's really hard to tell what you're shooting at when you jump in this game. So there is one other thing I didn't mention yet, which is that if you pick up too many of the bomb charge items, and I don't know which one the bomb charges are, I think it actually burns away all the bombs you have. As you can see, the more of whatever the item is that gives you bomb charge you pick up, I think it's the S, the more actual bombs you release when you attack. And if you pick up 5, I think it actually does like a big explosion and you lose all of your bombs when that happens, which I don't love. So we may avoid all the S's going forward. No, he still hit me. Alright, we did it. Alright, hopefully, we'll have more luck in this area. And I think this is definitely, since they keep attacking from behind, an area where you want to use that focused one that has the back shot. There we go. Yeah, I'm definitely getting more done here than I did when I was trying to... Oh, you jerk. Every time. I also wish the W's or the L's popped up a little more quickly, because it makes it hard to build a charge. There we go. Alright. Oh! I don't like how they pop up on top of you like that. Get out of here. Alright, we got him. Alright, so we don't want that. Although it looks like I lost a charge at some point. Weird. Ah. There we go. Nope, didn't miss it. I missed it. I guess it's a boss? Maybe? Nope. Yeah, I think we're going to get to the point here very soon where I just don't recognize anything because I never got any further in this level. Again, this is probably one of the ones that we got pretty late in the lifetime of the console, so I wouldn't be surprised if I not only never beat it, but never made it much further in this level. Played it a handful of times, got bored, and quit. Okay, I'm starting to remember these guys. Didn't mean to do that! You gotta be very careful when you push the jump button. If you hit it a second time, you will fire off one of your bomb charges, and you want to save those for bosses. Oh, goody, more of the airplanes. Grab it. Go! I didn't. Got it. Nope. Alright, I can get one more charge for my focus weapon, and then it's full. So we're doing alright. Oh, things just slowed down a little bit. Like that means I'm about to fight a boss. I am. I don't know if I've ever fought this thing. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I have fought this guy before. So I remember this. Get a whole bunch of them. There we go. That didn't hit him at all. Yeah, I got him. All right, very good. This may be a first. I don't know if I've ever played beyond this level. And if I have, I don't remember. Ah, crap, I skipped the scene. Whatever. I'm sure we'll be forced to play through that section again. Okay, I have definitely played this level before. But yeah, it's probably been a very, very long time. And we're going to switch to wide because of how much stuff is happening on the periphery here. Whoa, look at that. Oh, there was a one-up and I missed it. Ah, man. I have no idea what those orbs do. Probably just points. Oh, there was one more charge. Alright, there we go. So now we have our option when we're fighting against, oh boy, the boss. Final boss of the area. Jump. This level's giving me major Battletoads vibes. Like that second area of, or third area of the game when you get to, cool, got another extra life. When you get to the area where the hover bikes are, and you have to jump over a bunch of pits that are just kind of like a bunch of reddish pink goo. Yeah, I'm getting serious deja vu. That game definitely would have come out before this one. That was like an 88, 89 game, I think. Oh. Taking a lot of hits, don't love that. Not finding health. Ah, crap. I must have been sucking on the good shrooms. I'm starting to trip. Health, good. Yes, gobble. Get at it. Grab that force field. Why aren't you picking it up? I'm tripping so hard I'm imagining items. Alright. Swap back. Yeah, this is interesting. I don't know if I've ever gotten this far in the game. I think this is one of those games where I would have gotten to a certain point where... Ah, cool. That was easy. Or I just would have gotten too frustrated with the gameplay, although I remember those goo monsters. I gotta jump this way! Oh! Okay, that didn't work. I took a hit. Yeah, so if I touch that again, it should blow things up, I think. Oh no! I know what it is. I know exactly what that is. That is the speed up. Yes. That's what it is. Alright, hey, we're fighting the monster from Life Force, the very first boss. I think I've fought this guy before. Maybe I did beat this game and I just don't remember it. That's weird. See if that hits him. It did. Didn't do much. Alright, let's swap to wide. Focus on dodging hits instead of worrying about whether or not I'm hitting him with the full force of my weapons. Ah, every single one of them hit, or missed, rather. Yeah, I don't know if it's hitting at all unless those little brain nuggets fly off. For lack of a better term, brain nuggets. Sounds like an amazing meal. It's probably what McDonald's would like to make their chicken nuggets out of. Shh, don't tell anyone. It's made of brains. Wow, that was a tough boss. Ah, boy. We lost a lot, didn't we? That was the wide, too. Shoot. That's my good gun. Ah, I shouldn't have done that. Okay. So I'm at a loss for which ones are the... Okay, so the B is the charge up for... And I just lost my other weapon. That was stupid. Alright, wow. I'm going into the final fight here for this level with no good weapons. And a lot of goo monsters that are rocking me! Ah, boy. Yeah, we gotta build up this weapon if I'm gonna build up anything. This is the damage maker. Oh! That sucked. Ah, I can't get him. Alright, well, there's the boss. Yeah, I'm screwed. I didn't know you could die just touching the bottom of the screen. That sucked. I'm not even gonna make it! Oh boy, and this is why I barely ever played this game. Alright, well, we'll give this one more try going through this level. I'm not gonna start all the way back at the beginning. And if I can't beat it, we'll just call it a day on this one. I think we've gotten a good taste of what the gameplay is like at this point, and I don't know how much more of it I need to see before I can render a verdict on it. I need some power-ups bad. Well, you didn't get the one-ups on that one. Interesting that I was given so many one-ups before with those creatures, and this time it's just like, no. Alright, speed-ups. Those are good. I want my L charge first, I think. Which is this gun, so we should look at that one. Oh. What an ugly jump. Why can't I hit him going past? This is the faster shooting weapon. It should have hit him. It also seems like certain enemies drop specific items, so you can't necessarily get everything you want. Oh, that didn't hit him. What a waste. Owie. Ow, 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 ow. Oh, I need health. I need health. I'll leave those stupid things there, because, well, maybe I don't have a choice. You're not worth the trouble. Oh, nope. Alright, now we're going to the LSD trip section of the game. Ooh. Ah! Ah, crap. I lost all the charge now. What little of it I had. Ooh. Dang it. Yeah, this kind of... this is going to go into the bad category, absolutely. It's hard to gauge when an enemy jumps in this game whether or not you're going to hit them. Alright. Oh, come on. They keep putting the ones that they know are going to have some kind of drop on the periphery so you can't actually hit them. Oh, I don't love this. One up! There we go. Not that it's going to matter because I have no charge. Yeah. Ow! I'm not gonna make it. Too many bullets! Oh, don't take the... I still got hit. Ah, jeez. All right. This is going to be a very short episode because of how sloppy the end there was. I managed to make it to the third boss of the game, which I guess in some distant part of my brain I remembered fighting at some point, but that probably is as far as I ever got playing this game. Let's go ahead and do a round of the good, the bad, and the ugly. This week is sponsored by, let me read the note here, a giant writhing pile of den vipers tangled in a mass. And they gave me a note to read that says, "We're coming for you, Diane." Well, Diane, you should probably run for your life. Anyway, let's go ahead and do the good. I think the characters, the character models in the game, not just the main character, but also the monsters that you fight are very well animated, or at least the initial image of them. I guess there isn't a ton of animation involved in them, but they all look very cool. Suitably sci-fi and, creepy alien monster designed for a 1991 NES cart. They all look very good. Maybe not the best graphics I've ever seen on the NES, but very solidly drawn. I like the idea that you have two distinct weapons that you can level up at a given time, and that when you take a hit, unlike in Contra or Gradius, which is what the game took their inspirations from, you don't immediately lose that charge. Now, if you die, you do lose that charge. But it only affects the weapon that you had equipped when you died. So if you use one extensively when you're going through the main meat of the level to fight, like say the wide beam attack, and you don't like necessarily using the focus one, you could swap to the focus one and it won't affect the wide one when you actually die. I wasn't thinking clear enough when I was playing through the game to do that, so I ended up losing both weapon charges accidentally just playing through the game, which, that's kind of on me. As far as the bad, this game is too hard. I feel like I've said that so many times about games for the NES that they give you a health bar, but I feel like it's very difficult to gauge where enemy bullets are in relation to your body. That's something that I don't know if I ever had a problem with playing through Gradius or Life Force. I wouldn't say that necessarily about Contra. Contra, it's kind of hard because there's just so much crap going on the screen, and sometimes the enemy positioning is not terribly fair. But in this game, not only is it hard to judge where bullets are in relation to your own body because of how much is going on the screen, but also because they decided to tilt everything at that kind of, I don't know what to call it, 30-degree angle when you're playing through it, it's extremely difficult to tell when you jump whether or not your bullets are going to make contact with the enemy or fly past them. That was a choice that I'm sure they did for artistic reasons and not to make the game play more interesting or dynamic. It did affect how the characters look because they all were designed to have kind of a tilt to them, and it does give them, at least from an artistic point of view, a little bit more character and depth to the way that they were designed. But ultimately, it just made the game harder to play. And if that was the end result of what you ended up making when you made the choice to switch to isometric, you made the wrong choice. They give you a password system, but unfortunately the password system just gets you to the new level. It doesn't give you any health. It doesn't give you bombs. It doesn't give you weapon charge. It gives you none of that. It just gets you to the next level. And this game is too hard past the first level to have no charges. That's something that Gradius was very good about in the pretty much every game that they made. There was a section at the beginning of every level, even if it wasn't the easiest in the world after the first level, where you were just flying through an open space zone with a bunch of enemies that you had to kill to get your weapon charges. And then you could pick whatever weapon you were going to use for the level and hopefully not die and immediately lose it. But they gave you a chance at the beginning to get powered up after a level where you fought a boss and you probably died immediately and ended up having to fight through it with the worst weapon possible. Here, there were no zones like that. They would scatter power-ups throughout the level, and half the time you're so busy trying to avoid getting shot or getting collided by an enemy coming from behind you that you're not paying all that much attention to where items are dropping in the screen, or if there are enemies that are going to drop those items. You're just trying not to die. So I think they made the game too difficult, and they should have given you a buffer zone at the beginning of each level, just like in Gradius, where you can power up a little. Because it turns out you have to get a lot of items in order to get the max level for both your wide beam and your focused beam in this game. And 24 individual pickups is hard to get between deaths. It's too hard. As far as the ugly, and I think I mentioned it before, there is way too much pink and purple in this game. Just too much. Not only that, but the green on the first level just sears the eyeballs. Full disclosure, I've probably mentioned it before on the channel, I am red-green colorblind, but I am not that green colorblind, and man, that green is rough on the eyes. They could have mixed in some primary colors, red, yellow, blue, somewhere. I don't feel like they used them anywhere near enough to give the game a nice full color palette. It was just purple and pink, and occasionally some green. But color palette wise, I don't love the look of this game. Enemy designs are great. Also, and the music's not the best, and also the bullet sounds are annoying. I wouldn't say that's necessarily a bad thing. Obviously, you could just turn the music down during the game. I just didn't love the music, but that bullet noise, that's rough to deal with for an extended period. All right, now let's move into the scoring phase. We do our score in Randars, 1 to 10. I would say this is probably a 4 Randar game. Too difficult, and I think in total there's only about 6 or 7 levels. Not that I've ever been able to play any of them. I think at this point in the life cycle of the NES, this came out in 91, so they were probably starting to ramp up if it hadn't already come out for the Super Nintendo and coverage for video game magazines. I had a Nintendo Power subscription. I don't know if they ever talked at all about this game. Usually they focused on big marquee titles or ones that, were for licensed properties that they probably spoke with the studio that was making it and managed to work out a deal to cover the game in some way. And this is one of those ones that probably would have fallen through the cracks simply because who is KID? Who's the publishing company? NTVIC? I mean, I couldn't tell you what games NTVIC ever released. I don't know. Just don't know. So I never saw the passwords in a magazine. I was never good enough to get past the 3rd level. I don't know, just from playing it, how much longer it is. I had to look up, and it turns out there's 6 levels or 7 levels. So it's not a very long game. And it's too hard. They should have made it so that your weapon upgraded every single time you picked up a W or an L. Instead of this, well, you got to pick up, 2 or 3 to get the change in your weapon. And it's like, I mean, if that was the case, you probably wouldn't know unless you had the instruction manual that picking up a W is only going to affect one weapon. And you have to pick up multiple before you see an effect. Same with the L. To be honest, just checking the cart to make sure that this game worked before we started the episode, I didn't even remember that there were 2 weapons. I don't know if I ever gave enough time to this game to figure out that, if you switch to the other one, it has a different effect. And I was just kind of looking to see, hey, is there a way to make this game a little bit easier? Because I remember it being difficult. Finding in the instruction manual, there was a second weapon mode? Now, it turns out, knowing about that didn't make the game any easier to beat today, because I didn't make it any further than I ever have before, even with a cheat code. So, this game's too hard. The graphics are good. The designs for characters are good. Color palette leaves a lot to be desired, but the music's kind of grating, and way too difficult. Just too difficult. 4 Randars. If they had reduced maybe the number of bullets, or more importantly, not turn the camera at an isometric angle, this might have been a much more playable game. But then you'd lose, I guess, what they thought was the valuable aesthetic for the design, which is that it's not just, life force, but on foot. It's, tilted at an angle. But yeah, 4 Randars, I think that's a fair score for this one. That's going to do it for this episode of Nub's Collection. We're getting very close to the end of my NES collection of games. I think we only have 2 more that we'll look at. And we're actually going to look at those in the same episode because it turns out they are both puzzle games, and those are not the most entertaining episodes ever. So we'll knock them both out at the same time, and then we are going to move on to the Super Nintendo collection. Rental regrets. I still have a lot of games that I wanted to look at that I remember playing but not owning for the NES. So we'll have plenty of stuff to look at into the foreseeable future. And then once we run out of those, I'll pivot to Super Nintendo carts, which there are a ton of games that I rented for the Super Nintendo. So we'll be looking at those for a very long time. But for now, we're done. We're almost done with the NES games. But that's going to do it for this episode of Nub's Collection. As always, I do appreciate each of you watching, and I will see you next time.